Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like Cassie with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to Gunners Collective TV. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. Gracias. So let's talk about Boxer Enriquez for a second, right? Wiretap Wednesdays, right? Do you guys watch his channel? You know, if it happens to come up in my feed, I'll tap in. It's pretty interesting. Some of the things to get behind the scenes and to listen to some of the things that he presents and he puts out. You know, many people believe that Boxer Enriquez is a changed man. You know, once being someone from that organization, a high-ranking member, someone that it's like an exclusive club, man, to be a part of. You know, very powerful. He was a very powerful individual at one point in time, and now not so much. Now, you know, he proclaims to be changed and doing the right thing, the right ways for the right alternative. I'll say this, man. I don't hate that man whatsoever. Any person who does a lifetime in prison, who did what they had to do while they were in prison, stabbings, minding your own business, being a part of something bigger than themselves, I respect, because I know what it takes to do prison time and to be of an understanding that every day could be your last. You know, we're talking about someone who was looking at a gaggle of time, a lifetime, and was able to get back. Now, the way he got back, if you watch Boxer Enriquez, you should know already. It's no secret. He got his get backs. His path to freedom was to treat others like speed bumps and run them over on his way out. You know, he probably is one of the most controversial figures when it comes to the California prison system, because the way he went out bad, the way he left, right? He decided that enough was enough. And rather than just checking in and saying, you know what, I'm going to go to the hole, I'm going to check in, or I'm going to get off, or do whatever any respectable prisoner would do, he decided to start working with the feds and working with the cops and building cases against people who we called brothers, who we called carnales, right? Now, there's a lot of people that feel a certain way about that, and there's a lot of people on the other side of the coin that don't, that could care less, that are like, man, he did what he had to do to get out, and all the work he put in and everything he did makes him the man, right? You know, I was never in his situation. I never had status like him. I never was part of an organization like him. I was just a norteño doing my time. Okay. And when push came to shove and my career ended, I just chalked it up and it was what it was. See, I was never in a position to debrief and do all that. I didn't know enough about what was going on to even be put in that position. My position was a little bit more awkward. I was just another dude going to the other side, man, and get the fuck up out of here. You can't function on this yard. You got off on another norteño. We know it's all bad. You know it's all bad. It's all bad. In Boxer's case, he decided to lock it up. He decided to lock it up one day because freedom and getting out meant more than what he dedicated himself to. I understand it, man. Sometimes you become disillusioned with what's on your plate. Sometimes, man, the same old shit gets old. Sometimes you feel like, hey, I'm in a position where people are questioning me now. I might get whacked. You know, it's all good when you're doing the whacking until someone else has the tallywhacker. Then it's a different situation, and I understand it. I understand it. You know, it's all good till someone gets punched in the mouth. Tyson said it. In Boxer's case, man, he did what he felt he had to do to get out of prison, but then he continues to do things while on YouTube. Let me explain to you the situation here. I see a lot of support he's getting, and I commend him on his channel and doing what he does. And when he first came out on the Mobspot with Mundo Mendoza, they were talking about, you know, personal reflection, personal stories. And we all tell our own personal stories. It just happens to be that their personal stories were a little bit more high ranking than others, right? And I've said in the past, man, if you want to get it from the horse's mouth, if you want to hear some real stories about prison organizations and about what was going on in them times, then those are the two guys to get it from, because they lived it. They breathed it. They smelt it. They know exactly what it was, right? But lately, you know, Renez Enriquez has started his own channel called Renez Uncensored. And, you know, he's playing a lot of wire. In fact, he has Wiretap Wednesdays. That's what I call them, Wiretap Wednesdays, where he's playing a lot of these wiretap tapes that he could have only gotten from the feds. They're not his personal collection. They were fed to him or given to him. And he's utilizing that as content. Very creative, right? Because not a lot of people are doing that. I think there's one other, a dude from Arizona that does the same thing on like TikTok or Instagram, right? And I used to support his channel in the past, man. And there was never no animosity between me and that guy. But I seen he's starting to do pretty much the same thing, put out wiretaps of individuals having conversations on the phone. Like I said, the only way they could be privy to this content is to be given it by authorities, feds, right? My thing is this: if you're a changed man, if you have decided, man, to leave that lifestyle and to leave that behind and forget about that, you know, it's all right if you start a YouTube channel and you want to tell your personal experiences and your personal stories, because that could detour youngsters or help people to realize, like, hey, man, prison is not the life you want to live. That's what I do. When I tell my stories, I put a comedic twist. They're funny, you know, saying all that, all the charismatic fucking things I do. But the ultimate goal is to dissuade anybody who's in the gang lifestyle or who's out there committing crime to realize, like, hey, man, you don't even understand till you get to prison the type of world it is. Ask Tory Lanez. Ask Money Sign. Well, you can't ask Money Sign Suede. Ask Chito Ranas. Ask these guys that are in the industry or in the rap game that never thought that they would be in prison, how it was while they did time. You see, when Chito Ranas got out, he was all sucked up, scanted out. That vato was like, hey, it fucking feels good to be out here. Hey, I can't believe I made it. I couldn't believe he made it either. You know, all of them didn't make it, just about 110 pounds of them. Then he gained his weight back. Now he's all out here. I'm not here to clown. I'm here to say he got an understanding of what prison really is, how serious it is, how dangerous it is. Now, no one knows better than Boxer Enriquez how dangerous it is, because he was a dangerous individual, you know, commanding dangerous politics, doing that. But when I see him doing Wiretap Wednesdays, using these wiretaps of other people who he once considered brothers, it's like, when does the debriefing, when does the telling stop? You know, it's okay to tell your stories, give your perspective, and help. If that's what is therapeutic for you, if that's what helps you, if that's content, and people are interested in this content, who wouldn't be? I am. When I see him and he's telling an old school story, I listen, because it's like, damn, bro, I've heard that story before, but from people that didn't or weren't actually a part of that. So to hear him tell his story, you know, I believe him. I believe him. But when you're playing wiretaps of individuals having discussions and you're breaking it down, it's like a whole debrief right there on camera. It's like you continue to throw dudes under the bus and decipher their you know, what they were talking about. And I know to some people it's good content and they're like, yeah, man, we want the in-depth, but it's not for all ears and all eyes. These things that this man went through, that he strived for, you have to have a little bit of respect for yourself and say, you know what? Hey, you earned the privilege to be in that world. And is it a privilege to be in that world? Well, some will use different phrases to describe it. But when you're living that life in that world, the prison world, right? Yes, it is a privilege to be acknowledged and to even be a part of the hierarchy. You know, there's a lot of people that are never get a whiff of that. They want it. They put in a lot of work. They're killing people left and right. They're doing whatever they feel it's necessary to gain attention, to be granted access into that world, that real organized crime world, and they still never get a look. They get passed on continuously because they don't have everything that it takes to be one of them fellas, right? Now with Boxer, he had what it took. He was around, you know, throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. He lived all that and then decided to hang his boots up. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm an advocate for, man, we're all the same, man. And the last thing we need is raza killing a raza, or blacks killing blacks, or blacks killing Mexican, Mexican killing. We don't need that, especially in the prison system that's stacked against us, right? But to continue to put content out that is continuously putting people's time and life in jeopardy, I don't see how that helps. How that's therapeutic, or how that is showing change. You know, I see that as an opportunist, or an opportunity to throw people continuously under the bus and say, you know what? Hey, I got this. It makes for good. It makes for drama. I'm just going to put it out on my channel and fuck it. I already went out backwards anyways. Why not just continue the ride? You know, I know Boxer Enriquez is a very, very intelligent individual, and I know he knows what he's doing when he does it. And I have nothing against that man. Do I believe everything he did was righteous? Well, no. But who am I to speak on him, right? Like that. But, you know, I was asked a question, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. They're like, what do you think about your honest opinion, bro? Uncut, raw. What do you think about him putting out all these wiretaps? And where do you think he got them from? Well, there's only one place he could have got them from, because a lot of these things these individuals are talking about has nothing to do with him. So that means he wasn't involved in their case unless he was a witness, or you know, a special witness, you know, someone that's knows everything about the gangster. They use them. They use them as fucking someone that they could, someone that's flipped, that could, you know, basically decipher and tell you what these guys are saying without them saying too much. So, you know, it's a special circumstantial witness, or whatever they call it. So yes, I'm sure a lot of these cases he was called upon to ultimately help the prosecution in convicting some of these guys. Dudes he called brothers at one point, right? The fact is this: when asked, where is he getting these tapes from? Well, yeah, he's getting them from the feds. He's getting them fed to him from law enforcement, because law enforcement feels that if they continue to give this to this guy and he puts it out there, that maybe someone will say something and it could lead to more convictions or more prosecutions. That's the facts. That's the truth, right? To put yourself in that awkward position of doing that, yes, you're going to get views. Yes, you're going to get money. People love drama. They love intrigue. They love the unknown, thing that they can never be a part of. But at the end of the day, when is enough enough? When are you going to say to yourself, like, man, I shouldn't be putting these guys' business out there? What gives you the right, if you're a changed man, you're a Christian man, you're doing your own thing, what gives you the right to actually, do you have the green light? Meaning, do you have the, I mean, I know you got the green light, but do you have the consent to put these guys' voices out there? The actual voices. You know, I do a lot of videos like about Wes Watson, or the Active Adam, the Viking 16, right? Or even Whack 100. But if you notice, I don't utilize their content, meaning I don't show them besides a thumbnail. I don't play like them talking, because not only will these guys report me, absolutely, to get my channel fucking took off, but even more so than that, it's because I don't have their consent. You know, I know right off the top, man, they don't like me and I don't like them, so they might feel some type of way. So rather than putting myself in that awkward position, plus I'm not going to fucking play their shit. That's just not my style. You know, I could talk about it and give you my perspective and my angle. I don't have to have them speak for me. You know, I don't want dudes like that to speak for me, because that puts me in the position of like, man, you might be conforming to what they're saying. Fuck them and fuck you. That's it. That's how I feel. My thing is this: when this dude is playing these wiretaps, it's like, and then deciphering them for people. Bro, that is a different world. You're not supposed to give people that much game. You know, to each their own. You can do whatever you want. You know, telling is telling. But I just don't get why. I don't get, you know, how people, and it's crazy because I have people that will go in on me. Gunner, you're a rat. Gunner, you're no good. Gunner, you say too much. What do I really say? I don't tell you how to enter contraband into a facility. I don't break down how to decipher code. I don't tell you how we were bringing dope in when I was there. I don't tell you who brought it, how they brought it, and why they brought it. I don't tell you who was getting it. All I tell you is funny stories, or stories about situations that I was involved in and people were ultimately convicted, not by my mouthpiece, not by anything I did, but by their own actions, right? So really, at the end of the day, I'm not giving up too much game. You know, if someone asks me a question, hey, how did the Norteños function in there? We were structured up, very militant. There are some things we did I can't explain, or I won't explain, even though I'm not part of that life anymore. and I don't have no allegiance or I don't have no loyalty to anyone because they definitely don't like me. I'm not one of those guys, you know, people tell me, Gunner, all the time, hey, you fucking still show loyalty or love for these guys, and they don't fucking like you. They'll do you dirty. Hey, two bad apples don't make a good one. Two wrongs don't make a right. They can feel however the fuck they want to feel about me. And I have my choice as a man to feel how I want to feel about them. And my integrity and my morals are not going to allow me ever to testify against them, to tell on them, to disrespect them. None of that. If it's a personal thing, one-on-one, man, and the dude's disrespectful to me, fuck him. That's it. But not what he claims, not what he's loyal to, not his people's, none of that. In fact, the only thing I want is to see brown and black and brown and white and everyone, man, be as comfortable as they can because they're already going through hardships in prison. And those that are on the streets, I don't want them to see them make the wrong moves that I did, that put myself into many times being incarcerated. With what Boxer Wiretap Enriquez is doing is he's using these wiretaps for content. And then he's speaking over them and telling you guys things you should not know. Things that we should not know. Nobody should know. But I guess the respect factor and this is all out the window. Once you fuck up once, it's like, fuck it, let's fuck up all the time. And it's crazy because I see a lot of people on his channel that support him like, yeah, you're a real one, bro. Damn, you really did that. Damn, this is crazy. Damn, man, we need people like you. Damn. And then they'll go in on me. Oh, Gunner, you're a rat. You're this, you're that. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Right? And again, this is not to take shots at Boxer because I think as a man, he did what he felt he had to do. And I don't hate on no one for making your own decisions. Every man's entitled to that. But this continual, content you're putting out there of wiretaps, and I know people are gonna say you're just jealous, you don't get them. I wouldn't play him if I did. That type of shit right there, two Vothels talking over a phone call. Why am I gonna tell you what they're saying? They're saying it right there. I don't need to break it down to you what they're saying. Half the time, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because I was not at that elite level on that level right there, I wouldn't know what the fuck they were saying either. I wouldn't pay no attention to it because it wasn't none of my business. I don't understand if you're in the situation like, man, literally you can't go anywhere without covering your face, or you can't be in certain areas anymore for the rest of your life. And, I hear people say, well, you can't go back to your hood. Man, I could pull up to certain homeboys' pads. They might get in trouble for it, or there might be a situation, but we're talking about a man who's testified against a lot of people, been a special witness, done a lot, a Sammy the Bull type that continues to go on YouTube and play these wiretaps that are being put out there. There's an agenda behind it. Maybe not his agenda. His agenda is to make money, man, and to get the views. And I get that. Why not, right? But their agenda, the law enforcement, is to feed and put certain shit out there, man, to get some feedback. Maybe throw some old shit out where they're talking about old cases, and hopefully someone comes forward like, oh, man, I remember that. Or do you? So I just, for as much people that go into myself, and even Dubs, he's getting all this hatred. I get all this hatred. But they're over there like, Mobspot. Renez Uncensored. It's like, I'm not hating, bro, but goddamn, what's wrong with you guys? Do you guys really enjoy the fact that men that are in there doing what they have to do? And I understand a lot of these men that he's playing the tapes, a lot of them are, they're not the type of characters you want to be around. They're considered dangerous, allegedly, or these different things. I don't want to disrespect them because, man, I like my life, right? And what I'm saying is, it's their business, man. I don't think another man that doesn't have their consent or, as went out bad, who they don't fuck with at all, is playing their voices. Now, he could talk about stories because he was once part of that. He could say, hey, I remember one time me and the homie this or that. And that's all good, man. People love your stories. They love listening to it. They know it's facts. But when you're playing other people speaking on shit and you're like, yeah, no, what he meant here was this, or what he meant there was that. It's like, bro, you're supposed to be changed. You're supposed to be doing it to help people stay away from the shit. And what you're literally doing is sensationalizing it or glamorizing it. When you, and I've done it before, man. Sometimes when I was talking about the North End, not necessarily anymore, but I used to be like we or us, right? And there is no we or us. I'm no longer part of that. I can't have one foot in and one foot out. I can't fake the funk, right? It's them and they. And it ain't even them and they. And we're not using pronouns, right? It ain't even them or they, but it is what it is. But when you're like still saying like, yeah, we used to do it like this, or we did it like that, like, bro, there is no more we, you went on the stand, not we. You know, it's just, I don't know, man. Again, I know people are going to take it as, oh, you're hating on him. I don't give a fuck. Take it however you want it. I'm just speaking the truth, the facts, how I feel, and I'm answering the question. Where does he get these from? Well, obviously, law enforcement. Should he be doing it? To each man his own. Let him do what he wants to do, man. I don't like it, so I don't watch it. Because these wiretap things, man, you know, first of all, these guys were caught off guard with this shit. And it's like, I know that there's the cops and robbers, bro, and I've always been a robber. I've always been a robber. Just because I'm no longer part of that life doesn't mean I turned into a cop. It just is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Am I hating? I don't think so, man. I'm just giving you my fucking respectful opinion. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. You know, if you're active and you're really out there, man, then you know what I'm talking about. And even those of you that are not, like myself, man, not active and in the gang life, you know there's some things that shouldn't be spoken on, period. Don't matter who the fuck you are or what you're